Hey, this is Chris Adler from Firstborn, and you are watching CMS TV.
And we are limping out of the fire. It is me, Chris Akin. It is that dude right over there, Seth Williams. And it is time to get warm and hot because it's so damn cold here.
It's been crazy. Last couple of days have been nuts.
Dude, I'll tell you what, and I know you've done this before. You have things that you've said on the radio that did not age well, yes?
Of course.
So Saturday night on the CMS, I'm on the show talking. I must have talked for a half hour about this storm is going to be nothing. It's nothing. You know, there's probably going to be a dusting on the ground or whatever. Like, I mean, this didn't even have a day to go sour. It was like, I was saying this, and I think by the time I actually went to bed at like 6 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning or whatever,
right,
it was over. It was already getting snowed up to the middle of my door. It's like, oh boy, I really blew it on that one.
Yeah, this is the first time that a radio show was postponed because of weather, because they don't really plow all that well up where I work. And so when you get an inch or two, that's one thing. But when you're getting a foot, that's a lot different.
Oh, yeah.
A lot different.
Definitely. But in a way, in one way, this is probably good that they canceled the radio show today, because that meant that you didn't have to go out there and tackle the snow with the bad leg. Yeah.
No, but unfortunately, I've been trapped inside this house for like 2 days now, and it gets a little bit annoying. But hey, real quick, I know we got a guest coming up here shortly.
We're
but update on my leg situation, because I did go to the doctor on Friday.
Okay.
The prosthetic place, a lime cooler.
Yeah.
And talked to Josh was there, who we had on the show, and then talked to my new doctor, I guess, guy who's taking care of me, and a great guy, great place. And so they made me fill out the whole forms and everything else, and I talked to a doctor online, like a telehealth thing.
Okay.
And he okayed me to get my new leg. And so they did a cast on my leg now, and I'm going to go back this Friday for a trial socket.
Okay. Now, what does that mean, a trial socket?
So it's just like their initial whatever mold that they make out of the cast that they did.
Okay.
It'll be clear, so that way the doctor can look inside and see how my leg is moving inside when I walk.
Oh, so he can see where there's like looseness or...
Yeah, like right now I can move my leg all around in my stump, if you will, all around inside this leg. And you're not supposed to do that.
Right.
It's not supposed to be this squish. It's supposed to move it like it's part of your body, dude.
Right.
And it's not. And so they can look and see what it looks like, and then they can build another one based on how that one looks on Friday.
Okay, and they didn't do this originally, or
I think they did, but
just
your leg
grow
changes.
out of it.
Your leg changes over time.
Okay,
you gain weight, lose weight, whatever it is, and your leg just changes.
Okay.
I'm supposed to be on leg number like 3 or 4 now.
I remember Josh saying that when he was on the show. Yeah, that you because you told him you were on your first one. He was like, "Yeah, you should be on like your 4th by now."
Right, and so Hopefully this will be taken care of within like a month. But they both, like the doctor online and then the doctor there, both looked at my stump area, if you will, and they're like, "You're tore up."
I mean, you're like, "Gee, thanks for the insight."
It's mangled, and so I mean, like, I'm bleeding. It's not good.
No, it doesn't sound good at all.
And so that's why it hurts to walk. It hurts my back to walk. I mean, like I told him before, I've been fat before.
Sure.
It's not like I've just magically become fat. And when I had two legs, my back didn't hurt like this. Obviously my leg didn't hurt like this.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to be changed. Something needs to happen there because I can't go on living like this.
Yeah. Well,
not
dude,
being able to do anything.
For taking the amputation off the table for a minute, did you ever sprain your ankle but just work your way through it?
Right.
If you even if you just sprain your ankle, but you kind of limp your way through it instead of resting it for a couple of days, what happens? Either your other hip ends up hurting or your back or both, because your body's not made to move that way. So your body's definitely not made to move the way you're moving, and you're moving that way, and probably every step down, you're probably trying not to put weight on it because it hurts the fucking stump.
Yeah.
Or this, I'm sorry, I'm not supposed to be swearing. It hurts the stump. But, that's tough, man. I mean, that's why we're doing this show, is to talk about these little things. And
Habu says, isn't that dangerous for a diabetic? What, being fat? I think that's pretty obvious. But like I told them, how do you want me to be active?
Yeah.
I can't be active. I can't go to the rec center like I want to. I can't do the things that I can't even walk. Dude, I used to go into like stores and stuff with my wife, whether Burlington or whatever she'd go to, TJ Maxx and all the kind of crap that she likes to go to and shop. And I used to be able to go in there and walk around, use a cart, and just kind of do my thing. And I can't now. It hurts. It hurts so bad.
Sure.
I don't go to Giant Eagle because I don't want to use one of these stupid sit-down scooter things.
The scooter. Right.
But when I'm walking through the store, my leg is hurting. And what am I supposed to do?
Well, you should use the scooter. There's an old tale that and it's terrible for me to tell this because I'm going to tell a story about when I had a trainer, which obviously I no longer have. But my trainer told me once when I was training, he was like, everything you've ever heard about this no pain, no gain is nonsense. If there's pain, stop. If there's uncomfortableness, you can keep going. But if there's pain, you just have to stop, because pain is not good. Pain is telling you to stop.
Habu said the sores on the stump, not them being fat. Well, yeah, it is bad because I don't heal as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm using stuff on there that I was told by some doctors to use a silver calciate something or other.
Right.
And it's like a brown pad, and it actually works very well to heal stuff.
Right.
And so I'm using that stuff and trying to get better, and I think it's getting a little better.
Okay. We'll see.
But it doesn't have a lot of time to get better because then I'm up walking again.
Right.
I mean, I can't quit my jobs.
No, you can't. There's no way you can't do that.
And so what am I supposed to do? I got to walk on it.
Yeah. Well, you'll figure that part out. For now, I think we're going to change directions because our guest is, I think, here, sort of. I don't see him, but I see him, but I don't see him, sort of a thing. Which is probably apropos because I'm pretty sure he doesn't see me either. This guest is, this guy's been a personal friend of mine for quite a long time at this point, and I am fascinated by him. We're going to go a little bit of a different direction today on Limping Out of the Fire with somebody that is actually not let their handicap stop them on any way. And in a business where it could very easily have stopped him. Our guest is a drummer. He drums in the National Touring Act, and a lot of you 80s, 90s people remember and still know Lily and Axe. They are out there now. He also plays in a band called Prophets of Addiction. He sometimes plays in a tribute band for Bon Jovi. Does all these bands, and he's blind, which is amazing. To me, is amazing.
Absolutely.
I don't know that I could walk through my house with my eyes closed. So to be in 3 different bands playing would be amazing. But let's bring him on and see what his story is. Ladies and gentlemen, Wayne Stokely. Wayne. Oh, I pushed the wrong button. Here we go. Wayne, you there? Hello, Wayne. Wayne is not there. Then I will take Wayne off the screen. I do not know where Wayne went. Well, he's trying to connect. God damn it. God damn it.
Hey, you. Why are you watching this with commercials? Go commercial free and unlock exclusive content. Become a VIP today on Locals, Substack, or Rumble Premium. Stop waiting.
Well, Wayne, I need you to disconnect and reconnect, sir, so that we can get you on here. Can I remove? There we go. Anyway, Wayne will be on here in a second, I'm sure. But so switching back to your thing for a minute, Seth, before Wayne comes back on. So what, with it being like this, did the doctor or Josh or anybody at that clinic give you some ideas on, how to deal with this, how to get around, how to move around?
No.
Nothing.
No, not really. They gave me a new liner, a different one than the one that they gave me like a week ago.
Okay.
So it's a little bit tighter and a little bit snugger on my leg down there.
But it's not doing nothing?
It seems to help a little bit again. It's like so sweaty. I'm trying to like figure out a way to like not use nasty terms because it is nasty.
Sure.
But it gets so wet down there because I have so much space between my leg and the prosthetic and everything else.
Right.
They say that it causes blisters. It causes all kinds of things. And it's just so uncomfortable.
Right.
I mean, the other day, my leg almost slipped out of the sleeve altogether and my prosthetic. I mean, I sat down in my chair, luckily, right before the leg just popped off of me because it was so bad. But the doctor did say we're going to make this better for you. We're going to make this so you can. And he was like, don't think you're going to get a leg right away. Like, this is going to take a few weeks.
Sure.
But it has to take a few weeks so you're good to go.
Yeah, but after, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, after it happens, you'll be in a much better position. The leg, the cuts and scratches and wounds will heal. And then you'll be, look, I don't know jack about amputations, but I do see guys all the time dancing and stuff with prosthetic legs. So I'm assuming that once they get the sizing and stuff right, you'll get to that point. Yes,
I would assume. I mean, that's my goal. I mean, I see plenty of people that have the things that I have and they are walking around fine and not I don't know. Like I said, I see guys that are running.
Yeah,
guys that run track.
Yeah, that'd be nice if you could get to that level, right?
Yeah.
That would be good. Well, you'll get there, man. All right, let's see what we got here. Wayne, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you, sir?
Finally.
We got you, brother. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Good, man. Good. Well, for everybody, I know I did the intro, and then, of course, the technology dicked us around. But
right, I heard that.
This is Wayne Stokely of the band Lillian Axe and Prophets of Addiction, and I believe a Bon Jovi tribute band. What's that?
Too many bands to name.
Too many bands, dude. You do more bands than most people that have nothing wrong with them. If nothing else, people can say whatever they want to about you. They cannot say you're lazy because you are a machine, man. So, well, welcome to the show, man. Let's start
thanks
there.
For having me.
Absolutely. Well, dude, I have been so fascinated with your story because, quite frankly, I don't get it. I have to see what I'm doing. Now, maybe that's the product of always having vision. I'm sure it probably is. But I'm telling you, in the middle of the night when I'm stumbling around to go to the bathroom or something, I'm banging into walls and stuff.
Right.
For you, drummer, who everything is so intricate on where things are, the measurement, where the drums sit, where the cymbals sit, all of that. How do you play drums when you can't see what you're doing?
I think it's probably got a lot to do with muscle memory. And
Okay.
when all of this first happened, I remember, like, just to give people an example, like my right eye, I can't see anything at all out of it. It's just dead. My
Okay.
left eye, it's hard to explain what I can see, and it's really dependent on the light in the room. Like if it's real light, I can kind of make out things and get around, but you could take 2 feet to the left and the light changes and just can't see anything. So when it first started, I remember one of the first conversations when I got out of the hospital and I couldn't even stand up. I had, like, there's a whole, all that stuff we can get into, but
Sure.
my singer, Travis in Infidel Rising, who's now in Crimson Glory, told me, he goes, "Do you think you'll be able to continue to play?" And my stupidity or whatever, I said, "Yeah, absolutely, I'm going to play." That was my mindset.
Right.
And he said, "Well, if you think you can play, then we're gonna keep going." And I got out of the hospital in late August. By January, we had our first rehearsal,
Okay.
and it was rough. It was rough. Not because at that point I hadn't had any eye surgeries yet. I couldn't see anything, and it was iffy. And I always said, if I can do it the way I did it before, I'll do it. If it's going to be not as good or pretty good for a blind guy, I have no interest in going out and doing it.
Right.
And so it took time. Like 7 months after I got out of the hospital, we were on stage playing a gig, and it was okay, but it wasn't perfect. And now, depending on the lighting on the stage, sometimes I can make things out. Lighting could change in the middle of a song and it goes out, but I could pretty much
Wow.
not see anything and be able to pull it off pretty almost perfect now.
Hey Wayne, tell people how you lost your sight. How did this happen?
Okay, so this is kind of a long story, but
That's fine.
back in 2016, I started having some problems in my neck and in my left leg and kind of in my back. And I went to see a doctor, and I'm like, I'm having all these issues. It's probably from years of, like, at that time I was in 5 bands, rehearsing every night, playing every weekend, working, all that shit. And my doctor said, "Well, you might have, something pulled or a muscle. You might need some kind of surgery. There looks like there's something near your spine." And he even mentioned, he goes, "You're showing symptoms of MS." And
Wow.
I didn't know what that meant. And I had an MRI, and they kind of saw something near my spine, but didn't really know what it was. And then that was probably August of 2016. And then toward the end of December of that same year, those problems persisted. And I noticed my left leg kept getting a little, like, weaker. I really noticed that doing like double bass type stuff. I just told myself, "Oh, well, I just need to practice more. I'm out of shape." So at the end of 2016, I got the flu and went to the doctor, tried to zap that. That didn't go away, and that turned into, in like late January of 2017, basically pneumonia or walking pneumonia. And I was just real sick. And then things started going way downhill. Like my whole left side was jacked up. I was getting these headaches that wouldn't go away.
Wow.
And I would go to the doctors over and over again, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong. So that kind of goes on, off and on. Like the sickness never would go away a little bit. I'd get medication, and then it would come back, and then we just kept getting weaker and weaker. But the whole time, I'm just straightforward, still going, still playing, and everything. We get to about late June, and I fell asleep on my couch one day during the middle of the day, and I woke up like an hour and a half later, and couldn't move my whole left side. Like my arm was dead. I had to lift it up. My face was numb, like teeth on the side crushed, you know. That's a whole other 8-year period where like in late November they finally like pulled all my teeth, redid my bone structure, shaved the top of my mouth, and then I get implants put in this Thursday. But that's a whole other ordeal. So basically it was kind of like a stroke. They thought that might be what it was, like a mini stroke, but they still didn't know what caused it.
Okay.
So after about a week, the left side gets better. Then I actually start to feel better, like the sickness clears up and everything. And then I think it's mid-July to late July, it just hits full on again. And that's when I started noticing blurriness and stuff in my eyes. And they made a appointment for a neurologist that I was supposed to go to in like 2 to 3 weeks. And about a week later, I was just full on sick, couldn't move, couldn't walk. And I woke up one day and just couldn't see anything.
Okay.
Go to the hospital. And one of the things about MS is basically they have to check you for every single thing else before they can diagnose it. Like literally everything. I go in the hospital, like at this point, I can't walk. I can't get up on my own. I can't use like the bathroom on my own. I weighed like 132 pounds.
Wow.
Like just, basically 2 days after being in the hospital, they tell me if you waited like one more day, you'd probably be dead.
Oh,
like
boy.
your blood cell count's down to like 12. It's supposed to be 500 or something,
Right.
Just craziness. And then I remember the first night in there, they gave me all this medicine and did like 4 hours worth of MRIs. They gave me a spinal tap, which no matter what drugs you're on, will wake you up.
Sure.
And then that's basically where they came to what the diagnosis was. And the main problem with that being is both of my retinas detached from the infection, and my body was so sick that when your retinas detach, you need to get that surgery with like 24 to 48 hours. I was so sick they couldn't do the surgery for months.
Oh my God.
So that is what really, maybe they would have reattached and been fine. Who knows? But that's what was the main cause of the damage to the vision that I had. And it was probably, I think it was 5 months later when I had the first eye surgery. And they did them one at a time, and they tried to reattach them, and they had to burn some scarring off. I guess that happens when they detach. And there's like very little retina left in the right eye, and they were able to attach the left one. And then usually when they do that surgery, they use a gas bubble to hold it in place until it heals.
Okay.
They were so afraid mine was going to detach again, and it's still to this day that's their concern, that they used oil that has to stay in the eye forever, which also causes haziness and vision loss and everything.
Right.
Because the way they explained it to me is that if it detaches again, they might not be able to get it back on. And like there's I still go see the eye doctor like every 6 months at this point. It's been like now almost 9 years. And they're still like just basically terrified to do anything, of like being afraid that I'll lose the vision that I do have.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's a whole, but it was like when it first happened, it's just so many things compounded at once. You lose your sight, couldn't walk. My left side is just fucked, and my attitude, I was so stupid. I remember telling the doctors they wanted to keep me in the hospital an extra 2 or 3 days. And I remember telling one of the nurses, I've got to get out of here and get this eye surgery done because I have to open for Fates Warning in 3 weeks. I can't even walk on my own. They're probably looking at me like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? But that was my attitude the whole time of just got to get through this and keep going. And that may have helped. I'm sure that helped me. Not to say that initially there weren't some really dark times, but to your point, when you talk about you can't get around the house in the dark, I think you'd be surprised what you can do when you have no other choice.
True.
I'm sure both of you can kind of relate to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, Wayne, and Seth and I have talked about this a lot, and I'm curious because we have not spoken to anybody that has had vision loss. How did you either A, beat getting depressed, or A, just not get depressed? Because, I know when I got burned up and I started looking at the skin and whatever, I got pretty freaking down. And I know Seth fights with it still, with losing the leg. So where did you land once, you really lost your vision kind of for good? And did you get into a depressed place, or did you always kind of rise above it?
I was initially kind of in a shock place, and
Okay.
then it went into like a depressed and anger place. But at the whole time I thought, well, I'm going to get the surgery and this will be fine. Once that set in, and that probably wasn't even until a year later, where this might just be the rest of my life. You definitely go through a depression, and you get angry, and that still pops up to this day. You can get angry, like you can be doing something that's great, and you can let it get into your head of, well, this would be so much better if I could see. But you just have to kind of let that lie, because when there's nothing, I just view it as when there's nothing you can do about it, there's nothing you can do about it. So you can either get depressed or feel sorry for yourself, or you can just make the best of it. And I guess that's kind of where I came to. But there was definitely anger and depression, but at the same time, I had a goal that I had to. It almost seems like that period wasn't even real, like it never happened. Like I remember, like lifting a 2-pound weight, trying to make my arms move with drumsticks. Like that was the main goal. If I was going to go, when it got to the point where I would go out, if I was going to a show and there might not be a chair there, I would practice standing for 30 minutes at a time, because that was so hard. Yeah, and that period of time almost seems like it never even happened to me now. So it was probably some kind of just running on autopilot, just trying to
Did
get
you have
through.
did you have like a good support team and people around you that were helping you through all this?
Oh yeah, I had all my bandmates, everybody, my mom, everybody, and nobody ever treated me different,
That's good.
which would be fine if they did. I'm the type that from the very get go, I just make fun of it, I don't
Right.
shit, At the same time, I did go through a period where it was kind of like embarrassment, like, because I was always such an independent person, like having to, and very much a control freak. Anyone that knows me will tell you I'm a total control freak. So not having control and having to count on other people for stuff is still like the worst part of it to me.
Right.
Aside from not being able to just go and drive somewhere, having to depend on other people is, it's like the worst thing.
Sure.
And that's
Well,
still
and I was going to ask you about that, just because the environment of, I'll call it your work, the environment of your work is always around crowds. And I correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, I'm straight guessing, but I would think that without sight, more than anything, you want to avoid a crowd, just because that's so, if you get separated from whoever is with you, man, you're way on your own versus, if I go to a show and I don't want to be around people, I could just walk out the door or whatever.
It was really hard at first. And one of the hardest things at first was when I lost sight, my hearing got like dog hearing.
Okay.
It was almost unbearable at first. I could be sitting in a room 2 rooms away from the kitchen and hear the clock ticking on the fucking wall. To this day, little noises, like if it's quiet and a loud noise comes, it like almost gives you a heart attack. Because your defense system is just on hyper alert. When you lose, eyes are basically your protection, kind of.
Sure.
So you lose that, and that being in crowds was hard, especially when I couldn't see anything, like just hearing noise and traffic around, and you don't know what's coming towards you. Like that took a while to get over, but now it's pretty much fine. And being like playing, I never really, I wasn't the type to really broadcast it or complain about problems. So like if people didn't know, like there was even people 2 years into me being in Lillian that had seen us 4 times and then they would come up and say, "Oh, I had no idea you couldn't see," you know,
Yeah.
which is
Dude,
the biggest,
I got an email.
that's the biggest compliment for me.
Hey, metalheads. Tired of that halftime snooze fest? The one where they shove anti-American social justice lectures down your throat while Bad Bunny prances around? Yeah, us too. Forget that woke garbage. Flip the channel right now. We're going live at halftime Sunday, February the 8th, 8 p.m. to 8:30-ish Eastern Time. Neely and Chris, uncensored, no holds barred, pure CMS debauchery. Real rock, real talk, real freedom. No filters and no fucking apologies. Stream it live on Rumble, Locals, Substack, and X. Just switch over from the game, ditch the bullshit, and join the party. The Classic Metal Show halftime show, because metal doesn't kneel, motherfucker.
You know,
Well, then I'll give you one, because I got an email this week when I announced that you were going to be on the show from somebody that saw you last year and said, I had no idea. So
that's a huge compliment. So
I mean, and it is amazing in the position you play. To me, the position you play in the band might be the one that needs sight the most.
Right.
Just because I know there's the muscle memory or whatever. I'm assuming you don't set up your drums yourself anymore. I'm assuming somebody else does that.
Well, in Lillian, we have a crew, but if I had to, like, I might not be able to carry them into the place, but if they're just sitting in front of me, I can set the kit up.
Okay. But do you, or does somebody else do it most of the time?
Most of the time in Lillian, somebody else does it. Yeah, but I'm not, like I said, I micromanage everything, so I need to be sitting there and be like, this needs to be
All right.
here.
So there's never a situation where this tom is, an inch or two off, which, in drumming world, that is a big difference. And certainly in drumming world plus zero sight, that could be the difference between hitting the rim or hitting the head of the drum.
Always check it in advance. And to be honest, even when I could see, I would never trust anyone to set it up exactly how I want.
Fair enough.
That's one of those things. But it was, I'm not going to lie and say it was easy at first, but now it's like second nature. And now it's a weird thing. And I don't know if either of you went through it, but when I think back to when I could see normal, it almost seems like that never happened. Like,
oh yeah.
And it's a weird thing. I tell people, like, if my sight came back 100% right now, for a second, I probably wouldn't even know what to do. That sounds weird, but it's true.
You'd probably be overwhelmed.
Yeah. And I also think, like, as horrible as it is, and I've always been like this, but there's people that have gone through far worse than losing their sight, and something else that I kind of came to understand was everybody's got their problems. And their issues might be bigger or smaller than yours, but to them, they're probably pretty big.
Right.
So if somebody loses a finger, that might not be as bad as losing a leg or almost being burned. But to them, that's a huge thing. So you can't look at those people and go, well, it's not that bad. I've got this or whatever.
Sure.
And you can't really expect people to understand what you're going through if they haven't gone through it.
Yeah. I always tell people, because I get a lot from, you guys both know the stigma of burns is generally the worst.
Yeah.
People are like, I'd rather drown, I'd rather get shot, I'd rather anything than burns. And rightly so. I can tell you firsthand, it hurts like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that. But I always say this when people bring that to me about when they say something like, well, this must be the worst thing. And I'm always like, I don't care if you break your foot stepping off of a sidewalk or something. If you break your foot, if you break your finger, if you lose a finger, if you lose an arm or a leg, whatever you're going through, it becomes all encompassing.
Right.
You know, you stop understanding what anybody else is doing and what's going on around you, and all you think about is, my God, my foot is killing me, or my hand, or why can't I see, and whatever. It just takes over your life. So it's all kind of the same. To me, anyway, it's all, whatever any of us are going through is very similar. It's how you react to get past it that is different, because some people quit, and then other people, like the three of us here, just right down the road, keep on going.
And I have a feeling we're probably all three the same in the fact that when this first happened, people were like, you know, first one of the first things I do is learn how to use like voiceover on my phone is a savior.
Sure.
I couldn't do anything without that. You know,
Right.
There might be a certain light, like, and it's weird. Like on my phone, I invert the colors so that like the background is black, and if I held it real close, I could kind of read it.
Okay.
But voiceover is how I do everything. And people, one of the first things people said is, maybe you should join some Facebook groups with blind people and blah, 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 and all that. And what I found was that was a bunch of the most whiny, pathetic fucking people. Day one, I was like, I can't take this. They're just feeling sorry for themselves. They're acting like the world should accommodate, and it just didn't work for me. So that stuff might work for some people, but I didn't want any of it. You know,
I think that's why we're trying to do this kind of show, is we can reach out to these people and show them that they don't need to be sad and depressed and whine to each other. You can just listen to it and know how to move forward with your life. Because if you don't, you might as well just die.
And it sounds cliche, but you're going to be sad and depressed. But really, at the end of the day, you just got to sack up and fucking do it.
Yeah.
And it might be easier said than done for some people, but that's really the only way. That's really, to me, that's the only way.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and I mean, your story is amazing, that just on the fact that you landed, you didn't only not let it stop you. I mean, you could have not let it stop you and played in some local band that plays for 50 people 3 times a year. You know, you could have been that guy, but you end up in a national touring band. Like the dream of most drummers, regardless of anything they may or may not have wrong with them. You end up on the road, man.
The story of that, actually, and a lot of people don't know this.
Yeah, I don't know it.
In December of 2016, I did a fill-in gig with Lillian in New Orleans, opening for Zebra, because their drummer Ken had another gig. And
okay, but stop right there before you even go further. How do you know, or how do they know you to bring you in instead of any of the other 1,000 drummers around the area?
It's actually kind of a full story circle that involves you. So I had known, you know, when Ron and Darren, the original singer and one of the bass players, were in the band, they were from Dallas.
Okay.
So I had known them. I had known Ken, their drummer. He's from Dallas, known him for years. And I actually really got to know Steve real well on that 2012 America Rocks tour when I was playing in Pretty Boy Floyd.
Okay.
When all that drama shit went down, which actually is how I discovered the Classic Metal Show.
Oh, nice.
Looking up, y'all had like Christy on and Stevie from, from Tough
Summers,
on.
yeah.
That's how I discovered you guys. So
okay,
that's when I really got to know him well. And they asked me if I would fill in for Ken. Ken was kind of already wanting to leave and on his way out.
Okay.
And after that, I did that fill-in show in 2016 in December. It was probably February or March when I was starting to get really sick, when Steve called me and offered me the gig.
Okay.
And I told him, yeah, I'll take it. And he's like, all right, just get well and we'll, blah, blah, blah. And then everything happened. And obviously everything gets put on hold. They got Rob Hovey to fill in. And Steve always told me, he's just filling in for when you can play or when you get your sight back. And Infidel was the first thing I started doing again.
Okay.
And then once I got to be able to play, I started doing Blaze of Glory again. And all of those, and to all of those guys' credit, when I could play to them, it was just, okay, come back, no question, which is incredible, because who would want to, who just goes, okay, we'll have a blind drummer, and all the stuff that comes with that. And it was about, I guess it was 2020 when Steve finally called me and he's like, look, if you can come back to the band, can you get back and forth to New Orleans? Like, can you do this? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, all right, well, come on. Just no questions, So I always say it's to their credit because it would be easy, to just get someone else, that didn't need all the help.
Yeah.
You know,
And nobody would even look at them the wrong way if they did.
no, I wouldn't either.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either. I'd be the first to be like, look, I totally understand, So
Right on.
It's amazing. Really, it's an amazing story, and you're an inspiration to a lot of people. And, I think about what you've been through. I'm not sure that I could have done that. Losing a leg seems like a piece of cake compared to what you had to go through.
See, and that's the thing. I was sitting here thinking, I would rather be blind than lose a leg. See how it's relative to everyone.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
if I lost a leg,
makes sense.
It's relative to. Believe me, if there's the only two things in the entire world that I fear are my sight and my hearing.
Yeah.
Everything else I could care less.
It's like a lot more now.
Yeah, I just, if I couldn't watch TV, I might as well just jump in a hole because God knows if I couldn't see Sydney Sweeney, I'd be just screwed.
That's the one good thing about what little sight I do have. I can pull up Sydney Sweeney and make the picture bigger and tell what you're talking about.
Hey, that's what I do, but just to certain parts.
Right. I'm sitting here last night with my phone watching Landman like this, making sure I can see all the stuff,
Wow. That is amazing.
It's really not something I think too much about now.
Sure.
And there's like obviously the music business is shit. There's no money, and the other negative thing is, I spent most of my life, working jobs here and there and doing music stuff. So it's not like I have the best Social Security. So they put you on supplemental security income. And what the government gives me is less than what a McDonald's worker makes in 2 days.
Right.
Nothing. And then you go out and play, and even if I did have gig money coming, I have to pay somebody to be there with me, and my stuff, which I don't care. I never did it for the money anyways, but there's no money in it. But it does keep me from just sitting here staring at the walls,
Sure. Do you think that you are, because like you said, your hearing becomes so hyper accentuated, do you think that has made you a better drummer? Do you think that it makes you almost pay too much attention to what you're doing to where you are too critical of what you're doing now? I mean, how do you think it has changed you as a drummer?
I haven't noticed that in regards to music. And of course, now that's leveled out where it's normal. And lucky for me, about 5 years before any of this happened, I had already started playing with like in-ears in my ears, even if I wasn't playing to a click or anything, just to muffle the sound. And it made the drums sound almost like studio quality, and I would still have a monitor so I could still hear the band. And I'd been doing that for so long. If I have those out and I hit the drum, I'm like, fuck, these things are loud. How does anybody handle this, So that's probably saved a lot, but I haven't really noticed that impact the only thing that impacts my playing that I'm still not happy about is my left leg and left foot are still not normal for like all the super fast double bass stuff I used to do. I just can't do, and that's okay. And Lillian, we only have one double bass like song. And some nights it feels good and I nail it, and some nights I just augment it. It is what it is. But that's the only thing now, playing wise, that I feel hinders me or bothers me. But it's also not something I really need at this point.
Right. That's amazing, man. I mean, dude, I'm curious. I know you kind of glossed over it, but and for people that don't know, Steve Blaze is kind of the leader of Lillian Axe and has been forever, and he's an amazing guitar player. But Steve has always sort of been like the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Were there not any kind of conversations at all of even, I know initially you said, hey, whenever you're ready, come on back. But I'd imagine when you did come on back, then there had to be some kind of a conversation or some sort of a how do we modify it for you, or how do we change it to make it work? Was there any of that, and did he initiate it, or did you initiate it?
It was just basically, what do you need in order for this to work?
Wow.
You know, they had a crew, they had people to set the drums up, so it was like, okay, what do you need, and just done. And then I remember from the first practice in photo station, it was basically like I didn't even have a disability. Like, it's just never even. I don't even know that. I think anybody even thinks of it like that anymore.
Right. I think we need you to reconnect, Wayne, if you can. We lost your audio here for a minute. If you could reconnect, that would be cool. Here, I'll punch you out.
We only have like 10 minutes left in the show.
Yeah, that's all good. What a story, huh? Jesus.
Yeah, it is.
It's an amazing, amazing story, to say the absolute least.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy, man.
Yeah.
Again, every time I think that life sucks, you go, all right, well, you know. Well, like you said, everybody's got their own thing, and their own thing is what consumes their life. And
yeah.
You know,
but yet,
I mean, if I had to trade, I don't want that.
Right. But yet the interesting thing is that we all three have a different thing, and yet we all three have been able to carry on.
I know.
Are you back? No. This is always a problem with these damn phones. All right. He may be back.
I think the music industry should be like the real world. You have to be ADA compliant, and you can't fire a band member who's handicapped.
But dude, how lucky is Wayne that he got into a band that was willing to?
Super cool.
I mean, and this is a national band. I mean, these guys tour a lot.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know the band. Makes me want to go listen to an album now, though. Because it's like they're good dudes on top of everything.
Yeah, exactly. Now you really want to support Lily and Axe.
Yes.
I hear you, man. Well, it is an amazing story, and I don't know that I could do it. And like I said, my biggest fear in the entire world is sight. I fear losing my sight.
And like you said, hearing. I mean, look, what I do for a living, you do for a living. I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
It's scary. Life is scary sometimes, and you have to ignore it, because if you think about it, you're just going to want to kill yourself. But life is scary.
It is. Do we got you? I don't think we do.
All right.
No. I think your internet might have gone wonky, man. Why don't we do this, Wayne? We'll let you go, because I think we told most of the story, but you're obviously welcome back whenever you want to. I know you're mobile and not by your home stuff and whatever, but
maybe get him on the other show too.
Yeah, we'll get you on the other show as well. But Wayne, it's been great having you, man. Thanks for joining us here.
I can't thank you enough, man.
Thanks, bro.
You rock, man.
All right, good luck. Thanks, bro. And there goes Wayne. Wish.
Well, luckily we got everything really in the story and everything else. So
we did, and great. What a great story, and he's a great dude, and
he seems like a great guy, man.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, I've known Wayne for, well, he told you more than me. He knows better than I do. He's known me since 2012, I guess. And yeah, he's a great dude, man. But I definitely would say if you want to learn more about Wayne and his story and whatever, go to LillianAxe, LillianAxe.com. You can find out where they're playing, and if they're playing by you, by all means, seek out Wayne, seek these guys out, and say hello. You know, let them know you saw them here.
Dude, we got to go to a show. They ever come around here?
Yeah, they come around here sometime. If they come back around the Cleveland area, we'll definitely go, because Wayne's a good dude, and I know Steve as well. So I think we could probably finagle some tickets on that one.
We got to go to some of these shows, man. Tesla's coming back. I want to get them back on the show and go to see them again. Seems like every time they come around, I got to go see them.
Dude, that's so funny, because my girl Kelly even said the same thing to me the other day. She's like, "Can't you interview Tesla again? I want to go see him at the Rocksino."
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus, what am I, Ticketmaster now?
Yes. Like, I'm not Like at my radio station, we don't hand out tickets, right? It's not exactly the concert hub 1420.
Right.
So, I gotta find them somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to see Brad again because Eric's not with them anymore. And so now how am I gonna go see these bands?
We can still make that happen. I'm friends with Steve and Piercy, so we could make that happen.
But I'm sitting there looking at the list of people coming, and so Tesla's coming. Yes, let's get them on the show. And I know that's for a different show, but
yeah, whatever. I mean, they're all sort of related anyway, aren't they?
Yeah.
But all right, I think we're done here. What do you think?
I think so. I mean, it's a short show. It was good.
So what? It was good. We had a great interview. Again, everybody, please check out Lillian Axe. LillianAxe.com is the website. And buy something. Don't just stream it, you cheap bastards. Buy something. Help these guys. Wayne's got to pay somebody to go with them to every show. Help him pay that person. How about that? Since nobody's contributing to us.
I know people that aren't handicapped that give send go accounts just for nothing.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy that needs a little bit of help for everything that he's doing. And he's, like you said, the music industry doesn't pay for anything.
Nothing.
I mean, it's sad. It's really, even big bands anymore with all the Spotify crap.
Yeah.
They're all getting screwed.
Yeah, they don't get paid. Dude, there's bands, and again, we're turning this into yet another show, but there are bands that I know that are big bands that have canceled tours because it costs too much to tour.
Yep.
Anthrax did. Anthrax canceled a European tour because it was too expensive to get buses and hotels and stuff. Now, Anthrax is a big band.
I was going to say, they have to do pretty well over there.
Yeah. But it's too much, costs too much. But anyway, maybe we'll do that on Wednesday on the Seth Williams show.
Yeah. If you haven't listened to the Seth Williams show, that's happening on Wednesday at 4 o'clock once again. And there is so much to talk about.
Yeah. I would say that one is going to be very busy and a lot of profanity.
Yes, and it'll go quickly, but it'll be good because there is a lot.
Yes. And I even have a lot of stuff for mines already ready. I have like 4 or 5 stories ready to go for that too. So you filthy pervs will get your share as well on Wednesday.
All right.
All right. Well, we are going to get out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do the podcasty stuff for us. Help us out here. Share, like, subscribe, comment, repost, anything you can do that will help us get. If you can help us get one more person to watch this today, then we'll get them next week to do it, and then we grow. So help us out, would you please?
Please.
All right. Well, we're done. Seth, it's been fun. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching, and we are done. See ya.
Later.